new since last time? What's new since last time? Since our last lesson together?
Could you repeat because something was wrong and I don't hear everything.
Okay. Now you need to say, I didn't hear everything, because if you say, I don't hear everything, that's like right now you're not hearing everything. But in fact, it was just a moment ago when I was speaking that you didn't hear everything. So as it happened in the past, you need to use the verb to do in the past, and you would say, I didn't hear everything. Do you see what
Okay.
you see that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, that's great, Paulina. So, yes, I was asking what's new for you, or what's been happening for you that's new since last time, since our last lesson together. Is there anything special in particular, anything you'd like to talk about, to share about what happened last time? It's always good for a bit of practical conversation, you see, conversational English. If you have some things you'd like to talk about that's been happening for you since last time, Paulina.
Okay, so it was my first lesson
Mm-hmm.
with English native speaker, and it was
Mm-hmm.
my first experience
Mm-hmm.
which I have,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I had. So I
Yes.
was I was really nervous before this lesson,
Right.
and but during this lesson I was really I was really um, impressed about the method of this lesson,
Oh,
and the Bible method
yeah.
also was really
Mm-hmm.
interesting and
Mm.
helped. And
Mm-hmm.
first, it was really good to had first English Bible, and
Yes.
next in my own languages. It
Yes.
was really helped, and it was really good for me to explain some word which was difficult to me, and uh, explain in English, not Polish. It
Yes.
was um, it was really needed, and I uh, could um, remember it better
Mm-hmm.
because we together explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it's really useful for me,
Yes.
um, this type of um, explaining word.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really impressed that we talk a lot during this lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and um, and and it was really nice experience, and I would like to continue it. So I booked next lesson, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy that um, we can have our next lesson together and practice it.
That's excellent. That's wonderful. Thank you ever so much for sharing that with me, Paulina. That's very encouraging, very positive, and I'm really pleased that you enjoyed our first lesson so much last time. That's really good. Let me just correct a few of the expressions that you used. Now, you are saying that it was your first lesson with English native speaker, but in fact, you would need the article in front of the noun. And here it's an indefinite article, the letter A, but because of the adjective English describing the speaker being with a vowel as the first letter, and we cannot have two vowels together, then we have to add an extra letter N, a consonant to the letter A that gives us an in front of the word English. So you would say with an English native speaker. Do you see that, Paulina?
Yes,
You
yes.
understand that?
With an English native speaker, I see.
That's right. Now, when you're saying it was very helped, you could say, of course, it helped. That would be the verb. But if it was very, then you would need the adjective helpful, okay?
Okay.
And then instead of saying it was very helped, you would then say it was very helpful. Helpful, saying that it's describing it, so it was helpful, you see? Describing the pronoun, which represents the noun, so it, the lesson, was helpful, a helpful lesson. Okay?
Okay.
That's great. Wonderful, Paulina. Now, the next thing is when you said difficult to me, you don't say that something is difficult to you. You would say it's difficult for you. Okay? So you would say it's difficult for me instead of it's difficult to me. Okay? That's the correct way of saying it. It was difficult for me. And then you said we explain it. In fact, as it's something that happened in the past, our previous lesson, our first lesson, then you wouldn't say we explain it, but with the past participle, the ed at the end of the verb, it would be we explained it. We explained it. You can hear the difference, Paulina?
Yes.
That's good. That's excellent. Okay. Oh, and there's one other thing. That's where you have the word explanation, because you were talking about the explaining word or explaining work. I'm not sure what you were referring to, this word of explaining or this work of explaining, but in fact, to have the noun of the verb to explain, it's an explanation. So you're saying that you are finding it very useful to have these explanations, you see? So explanation would be the word to use instead of explaining word or explaining work. You would just say what was useful was the explanation. Is that all right, Paulina? You understand that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. That's excellent. Very good. You see, it's always useful for you to have a bit of conversational English in the lesson, especially at the beginning of the lesson, because that gives you some practice in speaking, conversational English, and then for me to correct any mistakes you make. All right?
Okay.
Yes? That's good. Wonderful. So let's come to our Bible reading. And do you remember where we stopped last time in our last lesson together, Paulina?
I remember that we had, I don't know how to say, we had evangelist about Luke.
The Gospel of Luke. Now,
Gospel,
you see,
yeah,
yes.
Gospel of Luke.
Now, it's interesting that you use this word evangeli, because
it's
in French,
Polish word.
I know it's Polish, but because Polish is very similar to the French. Did you know that? There were a lot of French words in Polish or Polish words in French. Did you know that? That it's very close, French and Polish, because you're learning French as well. So have you noticed that there are a lot of French words which are very close or similar? They're the same almost as the Polish words. Did you see that? Have you seen that? You noticed that? Yes. And this is an example of that, because do you know what is the word for gospel in French, Paulina? How do you say gospel in French?
Mm, also, like Polish evangelis.
Nearly. It's very close. Évangile.
Evangels. Okay.
So évangile, évangel, you know, it is quite similar. Obviously, it's much closer than the word gospel. Gospel is much more different than évangile. And an evangelist is written like this: evangelist. So that is an evangelist, an evangelist. There we are, spelled like that. An evangelist, just writing this correctly. Evangelist. Because obviously, that's right, evangelist. That is the correct way of spelling it, with the E acute accents on the first two E's, evangelist. And you see, that's even closer to Polish, because the person who evangelizes, okay, how would you say that in Polish? The person, the evangelist, how would you say that?
Ewangeliści.
It's evangelisti. So you see, it's very,
Yeah.
very close to the
Yes.
French. In English as well, because we have the word evangelist, so there it's the same. But for the actual name of the book, then in English it's gospel, and in French, évangile. Right, very good. So we were studying in the Gospel of Luke, okay, and which verse was the last verse we did last time? Where did we stop last time?
We stop at let me see. It was Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Luke 1.
Yes.
Luke 1 to 4.
That's what we did last time, verses 1, 2, 3, and 4
Yes.
of Luke chapter 1. Okay, so now we can continue with the next paragraph. That's verses 5, 6, and 7 in English. Are you ready to read, Paulina?
5, 6, and 7. Okay.
That's great. I'm listening to you.
There was in the days of Herod, the
Yes.
king of Judea,
Judea.
Judea.
So it's a hard J. It's not the soft J of Judea, you see. It's the hard J of Judea.
The king of Judea,
That's right.
a certain priest named Zacharias.
Priest. That's right.
Priest named Zacharias.
Zacharias. Yes.
Of the division of Abijah. His
Good.
wife was of the daughter of Aaron.
Daughter. So it's a very round sound. Daughters. Yes.
Daughters of Aaron, and her name was
Aaron. Yes.
Of Aaron, and
Not
her
on
name
at the end. So it's pronounced as though the last two letters were en. And if it's en at the end, then it would be un instead of on. So it would be pronounced Aaron. Aaron. Aaron.
Aaron. Aaron.
Instead of on, try saying un. Un. Can you say un instead of on? Not on, but un. 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 When it's the letters en, okay, en. For example, if you're taking letters an and you're saying native speaker, it's un-English native speaker.
Something I didn't hear you. Something is wrong because it's a
Okay.
break when you
It
were
broke. Yes, I
talking.
see what you mean. There was a break in the connection. Now, if I say un, like un, like the article, indefinite article, an, it's pronounced un. You see, you talk about an English, un English,
Oh no, I didn't hear.
see, native speaker. Can you say that? Ush, native speaker. An English native speaker. It's still not clear? You
Yes,
didn't
but
hear that very well?
yeah. I don't know what's
Yes.
happened, but
So try try saying en, un.
um,
Yes. Try saying un.
and
That's right. Now try
I
saying
don't.
Aaron.
Aaron.
That's it. You said it. Well done, Paulina. That's
So
exactly right.
oh no, I don't hear. It's and
Aaron. You
video
said
is
what comes
also
after Aaron?
not clear. Hello?
Okay. What I'm going to do is, yes, that's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to make it simpler by reducing a few of the tabs so that I have less things open on the computer. So now it should be easier. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Is it better now? Yes,
Yes, it's
because I had
better.
too many things that were on the computer. So now with the less things being open, you should be able to hear me better. Okay, that's great. So if you could then continue the reading after the daughters of Aaron.
The daughters of Aaron, and her
Good,
name
very good.
was Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. So
Elizabeth.
the birth. So the sound drops at the end, and it's earth at the end. Elizabeth, birth, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. So her name was Elizabeth,
That's it.
and they
Very good.
were both
Very-
right
Yes,
house,
that's good. Both righteous,
um,
righteous.
righteous,
Good. Very
righteous
good.
before God, walking in all the
That's
commandments,
right. Commandments.
commandments and
C- com-
ordinance,
that's right. Ordinances.
ordinances of the Lord, blameless.
Yeah. Of the Lord.
Lord, hello?
Yes. That's Lord blameless.
Lord, blameless.
That's right.
But they had no child because
Good.
Elizabeth was barren,
Good.
and they were both well advanced in years.
Advanced.
Adva-
Advanced.
advanced,
That's right.
advanced.
Well done. Well read. It wasn't easy, but you read that ever so well, Paulina. So well done. Congratulations. Now, uh, the next part, the comprehension part. Tell me which words were difficult for you to understand in that paragraph, please.
Okay. For me, it's hard. Division.
Okay, so the division, it's like a classification, you see, of a certain group. Now, there were different tribes, different families, and so they were grouped together in a certain classification because they each had different tasks, different types of work to do. And so the division of Abijah is one of the groups, one of the categories of workers who had certain duties to perform. So they had certain responsibilities in their division, in their group. So it's like the name of a group, a division.
Okay. Okay.
You understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Next, right house.
Righteous. Okay,
Righteous. It's
righteous. So this word righteous. Now, the way to understand a word that's a little bit difficult like that is to break it down into the different parts. So what are the different parts that you can see of this word righteous? How many parts are there, Paulina?
two.
That's right, two parts.
Yeah.
Now, that's right. Right is the first part,
Yeah.
and the second part, us. Now, the idea of this method, this technique, this procedure, is to understand, once you've broken the word into the different parts, is to understand each part separately, because usually each smaller part is easier to understand than the whole word. And once you've understood each part separately, then when you put these different parts back together again to form the word, you should be able to understand the word much more easily because you've understood each separate part. Do you see what I mean, Paulina?
Yeah.
You understand that? Okay. So what does the first part mean? Right. Can you
Right.
describe to me what that means? Yes. Right. What is right?
Maybe right. It's a
It's
good
good.
choice, for example.
Yes. If you make the right choice, then you've made a good choice. So what is right is something that's good. Okay. So that's a good description of it. So that means you know what right means. Now let's have a look at the second part. Us. E-O-U-S, but it could just be O-U-S on its own. Now, as this isn't a word on its own, but it's the ending of a word, to understand what this ending means, you need to think of other words that you know in English which end with us, either O-U-S or E-O-U-S. So tell me, which other words do you know in English that end with that ending, E-O-U-S or O-U-S? Paulina.
I don't know. House.
You can't think of a word which ends with O-U-S or E-O-U-S in English?
And for example, house or not?
Oh, house, okay, has O-U-S in it, but it has an extra E afterwards. So it's not exactly the same. It's not the E after the O-U-S, as in house, but here you have the E before the O-U-S. So you need to think of a word which ends with O-U-S instead of O-U-S-E, or which ends with E-O-U-S. Can you think of any word that ends like that, Paulina? Well, I can help you if you like, if you
Okay.
can't think of anything.
Okay.
Okay. For example, the word dangerous. Do you know what dangerous means?
Yeah, it's something um, which is mhm. When people afraid of something and
Mm-hmm.
and feel um, that something can happen.
Right, exactly. That's something that's dangerous, something they fear, something they're afraid of. So
Yeah.
it is something which represents danger, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Something which could be a possible danger for them. Now, what about the word courageous? Have you heard of the word courageous before? When
Courageous.
somebody is courageous, what does that mean?
Mm, I don't know if I explain it's good, but I think that it could means that uh,
So,
something.
first of all, I need to correct you because you shouldn't say if I explain it good, but if I explain it well, because that is the adverb well, which describes the verb to explain, whereas good is the adjective which describes a noun. For example, you could talk about a good explanation. That would be the adjective good describing the noun explanation. But here it's the verb to explain, and so we need not an adjective but an adverb, which is the word which describes the verb. So we're talking about the way it was explained, and it was explained well, describing the way in which it was explained. So you understand why you need to say, if I explained it well, rather than if I explained it good. Do you see that, Paulina? Do you understand the difference?
One moment.
Yes, of course.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
If I
Now,
explained.
mhm. And also, you said something about it mean. You don't say it mean this or it mean that. You would normally say it means because it's third person singular. So when it's third person singular, then you would say it means. It means this or it means that. Now, if it was something other than third person singular, if it was, for example, first person singular, it's I mean. If it's second person singular, you mean. Then when we go into the plural, we have we mean, you mean, and of course, they mean. So you see, it's only the third person singular when it's it or he or she. Then we have an S at the end and it becomes means instead of mean. You see that, Paulina?
Yes, I see.
That's great. Excellent. Wonderful. So, what do you think it means? The word courageous.
Courageous. It means probably
Hmm.
that somebody is brave.
That's right. Exactly right. You see, you do know what it means. And you explained it perfectly well. I think that's the best word to use to describe courageous. Courageous. That means they have courage.
Hello.
They are full of courage. Paulina, a person who
Yes.
has a lot of courage, courageous. So now that you understand that the OUS at the end is in relation to what comes before. So it's a state, a condition, of something that's come before. So if courageous means having courage, danger is when there is danger. And here, doing what is right before God, you see? And right, we know it means what is good.
Hello? I didn't hear you. I don't know why.
So, okay, I'll just close one more tab so we have a better quality. Can you hear me all right now?
Better.
Paulina? It's better.
But not.
Not perfect yet. Okay, but you understand that courageous means having courage, and so here we are talking about when you're having courage and you are therefore full of courage. So a person who is righteous is full of what is right. That means they do what is right, and they are good people, because we said that right means good. So
Yeah.
they are good people doing what is right. So you understand all of that, Paulina? You understand all of that? That's understandable. Yes?
Where was right?
And the quality is better now for the sound? You can hear me better?
Yeah. Now I hear
Yes.
you.
Now you hear me. That's good. Excellent. So now do you understand better this word righteous? People who do what's right, but what is good. People who have that quality. They are full of goodness, of good things, and they are upright. That's another word that describes it. Person of integrity. People who are good.
Okay.
You understand? That's good.
Yeah. So
Excellent. Very good, Paulina. So, which other words were difficult for you to understand there?
um, commandments.
Commandments. Okay. Now, in the Bible, there are, in the Old Testament, the commandments which are written. Now, a commandment, it comes once again, when we break it down, what are the two parts of the word? Commandments.
Command and ments.
That's right. Now, can you explain to me what is a command?
Command.
What is a command? If you're commanded to do something, if somebody gives you a command,
Somebody want if
wants,
I
so it's third person
somebody
singular,
wants
yes,
something for me
yes,
and give me a task to do.
a task to do, exactly. That's right. It's like an order that they give you,
Yeah, so
instruction.
I must do something.
You must do something, exactly. Now that is the command part, and the munt is basically referring, of course, to the command. Now, once again, we're going to do the same thing and think of other words which end with munt, M-E-N-T. Which other words do you know which end with munt, M-E-N-T, in English?
Arrangements.
Yes, an arrangement. Very good. Excellent, Paulina. Now, what is an arrangement?
Oh, how to explain?
That's where it's an exercise. This is the practical exercise. This is where it's a bit of a challenge for you. So it's a little bit difficult, but this is when you learn the most, when it's difficult. Because when it's easy, you're not learning very much because you already know it. But when it's difficult, because you don't know much, that's what makes it difficult. That's when you're learning the
It's
most.
difficult.
So you're going to learn a lot. You see, that's good. That's positive that you've been learning a lot. So this is a good practical exercise for you to express yourself using your own words. So try and explain this word arrangement. What is an arrangement?
Arrangement to create something.
Well, that's true. When you arrange things, you could create something new. It's
Organize.
organize. Yes, that's a very good word, because when you're arranging things, you're structuring things, you're organizing things. So that is probably the best explanation. That's very good. So it's a way of organizing things. An arrangement, it's the way things are arranged, you see? It's the way things are organized. It's a situation in which there are things which are arranged or organized. Okay, so here the word commandment, we said that a command is like an order, an instruction. It's something you have to do or you're called to do. And the ment is the state, the condition, the situation of something of a situation where you have to do something. So it's like an order, an instruction, and it's the like establishment of it. It's the way that it's set. It's something which has been established. Command is a simple order, and a commandment is basically the condition, the situation, the basis and the foundation of this. This is the way in which it is. It is a commandment. It is something which is commanded. You understand?
Yes.
That's great. You understand.
Something.
That's great. Now, in the Bible, there are 10 commandments. Have you ever heard of the 10 commandments, Paulina?
10 commandments, so...
Yes. Have you ever heard of commandments where you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that, or you should do this, or you should do that? In the Bible. What does it say in the Bible that we should do and the things that we should not do? Do you remember?
It's 10.
10, yes.
But I don't know how to say in English. In Polish?
In Polish?
10 przykazań?
Yes, and if you were to give me a few examples, just to be sure that you understand it, give me an example. One of the 10.
You shouldn't have...
You shouldn't have?
In front of me, I don't know how to say.
Right, you shouldn't have any representation, any image, any statue, anything that is carved or made or fabricated or constructed which symbolizes or represents me. So you mustn't have any idols. So no idolatry. Yeah. That's right. No idolatry. So that is actually the second commandment. Okay. So, but there's one before that. Now, the one before that is when God says, I am the only God. There is no other.
In heaven.
Exactly. There is no other God other than me. So you mustn't have any other God other than me. I am the only God. So the first commandment, commandment number 1, only Yes. So you must have only one God. Okay, you must have only one God, which is the one and only God. The second one is idolatry. So no idolatry, no idols. The third one, you know what the third one is?
A third,
Yes.
you should remember celebrate the holy day.
So the holy
Celebrate.
day is
I
the
don't know.
Sabbath day. Sabbath. Have you heard of the Sabbath day? Sabbath or Sabbath or
I
Shabbat?
didn't hear.
Sabbath or
Oh,
Shabbat.
okay. I know.
Okay. So the Sabbath day is like the Shabbat or Sabaoth. So that is actually the fourth commandment, but there's one before that, and it is you must not use the name of God in vain. That is to say, no blasphemy. Okay? No blasphemy, that is the third commandment. So it's the fourth commandment, which is
Okay,
to
so
honor
remember.
the Sabbath day. That's the fourth commandment. The fifth commandment, commandment number 5.
Respect your father and mother.
Right, that's right. Respect your parents. Very good. Number 6.
And not kill another.
Right, that's right. So do not kill. Number 7.
I don't know how to say it in English, so do not. It's really difficult word.
Okay. Can you
Do
describe it? This is a good exercise. You see, a good practical exercise. How would you describe it?
So
What is
do
it
not
you must
wrong
not do?
things in for example a woman. So
Yes.
not hurt another woman when you have yours.
Right, exactly. Very well explained. You see, you're doing well, Paulina. Do not have another woman when you already have your own woman. That's right. That is a very good way of explaining it. So the word in English is adultery. Okay. So do not commit adultery. That's
Okay,
a
do
relationship.
not commit
Do not
adultery.
commit adultery. Adultery is a relationship outside marriage. So
Okay.
you should only have a relationship with a person you are married with and not with anybody else. Okay. So that's the commandment not to commit adultery. What about commandment number 8?
Not not stolen.
That's right. Do not steal, because stolen is the past
Steal.
participle
Do not
and
steal.
steal
Okay.
is the present or the infinitive.
Okay.
Okay. Number 9.
I don't know how to, but maybe not lie
Exactly.
about people and other
That's
people.
right. Yes. Do not bear false witness, which means no lies, because a false witness means a false testimony. It means saying something false, which means lying. So no lying. Okay. And the last one.
Um, mm, do not, I don't, do not, do not bring something which isn't yours.
That's right. Do not desire something which is not yours. So you mustn't desire the property of your neighbor, the possessions of your neighbor, the animals of your neighbor, the wife of your neighbor. Basically, you mustn't desire anything that belongs to your neighbor. So in English, we say covet. Covet is like when you're envious, you have envy, or you're jealous and you want something that belongs to somebody else. So you must not covet, you must not desire and want to have things that other people have. That's right. Very, very good. Now you know the 10 Commandments, Paulina. Isn't that good? Wonderful.
It's really good.
That's great. And now you know the meaning of this word, commandments. I don't think you will ever forget that word again, and you will never forget the meaning. You will remember what that word means. Commandments. What it means. Yes?
Yeah.
You will remember that? Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay. Which other words were difficult for you to understand, Paulina?
So, ordinances.
Ordinances. So ordinances, they're also rules and regulations like commandments, but they're in addition to the 10 basic commandments. And do you know how many ordinances there are in the Bible? On top of the 10, in addition to the 10 commandments, the extra rules and regulations. Do you know how many there are? How many laws, extra laws there are?
Ordinances.
Yes. So an ordinance is a rule or a regulation, like a law, an observance, a prescription. Once again, instructions to do something, orders to do something. So how many do you think there are, in addition to the 10 Commandments, which are basic rules and regulations? Any idea?
I don't know which is it in the Bible. I don't know exactly.
Okay, I'll tell you how many there are. There are 613 ordinances in the Bible. Yes, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And these are all the little details of all the little things which the Jewish people had to do. It's explained in the Old Testament, the first part of the Bible, in the books of the law. The first 5 books of the Old Testament, which are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, in that order. It's also called the Pentateuch, which is 5, like pentagon. Okay, and it's also called the Torah in the Jewish faith, in Judaism. They have a book called the Torah, okay, like the Talmud. And so it's 613 ordinances, a lot of rules and regulations and observances and prescriptions and all the things that have to be done.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You understand, it's a lot, yes. You understand what that word means now, ordinance.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, that's good. So which other words were difficult there for you to understand?
Okay, so maybe blameless.
Blameless. Now, once again, we're going to break it down into the different parts. Now, explain to me the first part. Do you know what the first part is? The first part is which word?
Okay, so maybe it blame. So I think I know. Blame. It's.
You see, you're using the right technique now. the right method, and that's helping you understand when you break it down. Blameless.
Hurt
Now,
somebody?
when you criticize somebody, that's right, that's blaming somebody, okay? That is a blame. When you're saying that somebody has done wrong, that is a blame. You're blaming somebody. Now, what about less at the end of a word? Do you know other words which have less at the end of the word? Give me an example of another word in English which ends with less. A word which has less at the end. Can you think of anything?
Less.
Any word that ends with less that you can think of in English?
Blameless and I don't.
You can't think of anything else? Okay. So I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard of the word careless? When somebody is careless. I'll write it down for you so you see what it looks like.
Could you repeat?
Careless. I've written it for you. Careless. Maybe an easier word. Hopeless. What does hopeless mean?
Hopeless, and it means that it's really helpful. No.
Okay, what about helpless? Helpless.
Helpless, it's really helpful. Hope, it's... I don't know how to explain it. Hopeless, it's a... thinking about better life, for example. Hope.
Well, hope is a better life, but that is when you're hopeful. You're full of hope, okay? But is it more? Is it an addition? Or is it something that's missing? When it's more, when it's less, is it positive or negative?
Okay, I know. It's negative, so
it's negative.
Not hopeless.
So hopeful is full of hope, that's positive, and hopeless is when it's less, it's negative, therefore, is there any hope? If it's missing hope, if it's lacking hope, is there a hope?
I didn't hear everything exactly, but...
So, is there any hope if it's hopeless? You see?
Not hope.
Exactly. There is not any hope. And when it's helpless,
I didn't hear now.
then there's no help. When it's careless. Okay. So now you understand better careless, hopeless, helpless. Now we come back to our word blameless, and we said that blame is when you're criticizing somebody. So if it's blameless, therefore that means you are not criticizing anybody. That means there is no blame. There is no criticism. That is to say that the person, you cannot form any reproach concerning them. So you cannot criticize them. You cannot say that they have done anything wrong. And so that means they're doing everything well. They're blameless.
Yeah,
You can't say.
I understand now
you
this
understand
word.
that.
Yeah. And
That's
also,
excellent.
it's really good because I know when we add less, it's what it means, that it's different that I thinking.
It's different from what you are thinking. Yes. Right. Well, that's really good. You've done really well there. So, what you could do for your homework is to have a look at the French version, as we didn't have time to do the French version this time. But you can do that then for next time, the French version. And that way we can
Hello? I don't hear you and I don't watch you. Didn't watch you and didn't hear you. I don't know what happened. Hello? I didn't hear.
Can you hear me all right, Paulina? I'm sorry we had a little break in the connection. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. I didn't watch you, but I hear you now.
Okay. Right. Yes. So what was it we were saying? We were saying that, oh yes, now you understand what it means, hopeless, helpless, and careless. So blameless without any blame. So you understand that now. So I was saying that for the homework, if you could look at the French version, and that way you could compare that with the Polish, Russian, and English versions. Okay, so you could look at all the different versions for your homework. That would be good. And so next time we could discuss it if there's anything you wanted to ask about in the different versions and how it compares with the English version, especially in the French. We'll have to go over the French together as well. And right, that's good. So you did really well for this lesson. Well done. Congratulations, Paulina. Thank you very much for the lesson. You're ever so welcome, with the greatest of pleasure. And I look forward then to our next lesson together next time, Paulina. That'll be great.
Of course. Thank you very much.
You're ever so welcome. All the best. Take care. Keep well. And I'll speak to you next time, Paulina.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.